Hi there. Welcome to the first edition of Thornton Now. My name is Mayor Heidi Williams, and I'm very excited that we're going to be able to have a show like this, and I'm going to pass it on to our Communications Director, Todd Barnes, to tell us more about the show and what the future looks like.
Thank you, Mayor. This show's been a long time in the coming. We've been talking about this for a while. It's nice that we're going to have the mayor on regularly once a month. We're also going to have council members on occasionally too. And the goal for the program is to hear from the mayor, some of the initiatives she's involved in, and hear from the council and some of the stuff they're doing in the community. And we're going to tell you more about those efforts. And we're also going to give a chance to learn more about what's going on in the Thornton community by bringing people in to talk with the mayor. And that's the goal for the show. And right now the mayor has some really interesting stuff to tell us about a trip she recently was lucky enough to go on with other mayors. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, so tell me about what you guys did.
So we were invited, well I should say there were 6 mayors from the United States. I was representing Colorado, invited to visit Morocco by the Moroccan embassy. And so we embarked on this trip about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now. And we were able to meet with mayors and governors and other dignitaries. We met with the Minister of Interior and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And we talked with them about just what are the commonalities we have with Morocco? What are the things that bring us together? What are the things we could do to strengthen our relationship? Really, the embassy and the dignitaries wanted us to know about Morocco. I think that those of us in the United States have an opinion of what Morocco is, and I will say that most of us are probably incorrect. I didn't really have a good feel for Morocco, what their culture was like, and what I learned was that we're really a lot alike. Actually, we were told many, many times in our meetings that Morocco was the first country to recognize the United States as a country. And because somebody in the Moroccan government, and I can't remember who, had a relationship with George Washington. And so, they had this friendship. And so Morocco really supported us when we became a country. And so we go way back with Morocco. We have a really good friendship. Our administration and their kingdom have a great relationship. But what I learned is that it's a very diverse country. When I went there, I was thinking it would be, a very Muslim country, very conservative. Wasn't really sure what to take for clothes. That's always the girls' question is what do we have to wear? And what I found when I got there is it's actually a very modern country. Some of the rural areas, I'm told, are a little more conservative, but the cities we were in Casablanca, Rabat, and Marrakesh, they're very cosmopolitan. They drive very fast. It was very scary. It was not a good experience. The driving was not fun. I kind of laughed and said, wow, we think we have it bad in Colorado. But the roads were great. I mean, their infrastructure improvements have been amazing. But they're really catching up. They're really catching up from not taking care of the infrastructure to having now a king in place who really wants not only to be ahead of the game and sustainable, but they really care about the environment and are putting in place a lot of things that I think are really forward thinking that we're not even doing in the United States. And so anyway, very diverse community. They have a Muslim community, they have a Jewish community, and then they have Christians. And again, ethnically diverse, and there's a lot of Spanish influence, because it's right up there in northern Africa, really close to Spain. And so a lot of their art and their culture really reminded me a lot of what we have here in Colorado. And we also have really common water issues. So we went and visited the African Water Museum. It was so amazing to see what they've been doing for thousands of years that we've only really been dealing with for a little while. And a lot of commonalities with water, infrastructure, like I said, culture. Actually, our Arts and Culture Center is doing an art exchange with a Moroccan city, which is very exciting to me. And I'm actually talking to the council now about looking at doing a sister city. We haven't ever done a sister city in Thornton, and so that's something we're going to be looking at.
Oh, that's cool. So tell me about some of the other mayors that went with you. What was their experience like?
Sure. It was a very diverse group of mayors. We had a mayor from Findlay, Ohio. She has about 40-some thousand residents. We had Rochester Hills, Michigan. He has, and that's, so it was Lydia Mihalek, and then Brian Barnett from Rochester Hills, Michigan. He has about 60-some thousand residents. Then we had our city, I think was the next in line size-wise, at about 140,000 citizens. And then we had Oklahoma City, brand new mayor. He was a senator, and now he's a brand new mayor in Oklahoma City. And then we had Orlando, who has a very, very large Moroccan population. So he was the only one who really had a good feel of the Moroccan culture, because they have at Epcot Center, they have a Moroccan city kind of set up. So they had a lot of people from Morocco kind of settle over there to help with that. And then we had somebody from St. Petersburg, Florida. And so again, I was one of the larger cities of the group, but everybody just really enjoyed the experience and felt like we learned so much more. Actually, when we boarded the plane in Casablanca, my husband said, we know so much more now than we did, just a week ago. We felt like we really got a lot of firsthand knowledge about Morocco, more than a normal tourist would, right? Because we're meeting with dignitaries, and we had 18-hour days, so we were all very tired. But we saw so much. They crammed so much into that week that we were there.
Yeah, you talked about commonalities, which when I've traveled abroad, I'm always struck by that.
Yeah.
So talk about some of the infrastructure stuff that you saw that seems to be similar challenges as to what we deal with.
Well, they have in Rabat is where it was. They have this water front that they wanted to do something with, right? Because everywhere you go, water is an amazing place for recreation. But this water had been polluted over the years through commercial waste, bad water infrastructure, that sort of thing. So they wanted to get that cleaned up and really provide a great recreation opportunity. And so they're doing that. They've gotten that. It kind of looks like a large lake. It's real close to the coast, but it's its own separate water body. And they're building a performing arts center there now. Probably bigger than the one we're going to build, right? Because we're talking about building a performing arts center. We're actually getting a briefing here in the next couple of weeks on that from our city manager. But it just struck me how every community who is growing and who is trying to be modern and with the times, that's one of the first things we go to. We go and say, we really need a place where people can gather. So this body of water, this performing arts center, they're building some bridges, they're building other recreation along kind of this riverway. And it just struck me that we all do that. We all want to be near the water. We all want to have culture and arts and this place for community. And that's what they're doing that I felt like was something that I could really take back and say, we need to keep doing that. We have all of our water storage, in the south area. We should be moving that towards some more recreation for our community as well. So just lots of commonalities. Obviously, theirs is on a much bigger scale. Rabat, I think, is 1.5 million people. It's a huge city. Yeah. It just takes forever to get anywhere in Rabat, which is probably why they drive so crazy. They drive like so fast and they use their horn way more than their blinker. I didn't see any wrecks, so I guess they know how to do it. But it's a very large city, and I think that those were some commonalities. Obviously, they were doing a ton of road work, building new roads. Unlike us, where we're just trying to maintain and maybe expand what we have, they're actually building new infrastructure, new roads. They had this beautiful, huge bridge, and I serve as the chair of E470, as you know, and I go to a conference called it's IBTTA, International Bridge Tolling Tunnel Association, which I know sounds super boring, but it's not, and it really is international. And so I was talking to some of the folks with their economic development department, and they're actually going to be at the conference in Philadelphia, so I thought that was cool. So I'm going to try to meet up with them again and talk a little bit more about E470, because I didn't have a chance to really talk to them about that. So just lots of stuff in common over there.
Sure. Now, just a second, we're going to talk about the people that you got to meet too,
yes,
and a little bit more about what drives their economy. But first, let's take a look at some of the community events coming up in June. Welcome back to Thornton Now. I'm Todd Barnes, Communications Director for the City of Thornton with Mayor Heidi Williams. We're learning all about Morocco and the mayor's fantastic trip to Morocco. I wanted to ask you about the economy in Morocco. Lots of the countries up in that area have different natural resources that drive their economy. Tell me about what you learned.
So we asked them as we were touring a college, who's paying for these kids to go into this college, because it was what we would call a STEM college. So it was very science, tech, engineering, math focused. They had a solar farm on the property, and they were doing some new innovative things around renewable energy that I found totally fascinating. But the way that they're getting a lot of their students funded, and by the way, they're looking for some American students, so I'm going to be reaching out to CU to see if I can make some connections there for them. But it's phosphates. That's their only resource, their natural resource that they mine. And so they have a company over there that is much like our companies will do. They say, we need more people in this industry, whatever it is. And so they're really paying for people, the best and brightest too. I mean, it's a rigorous program. They're there. They actually have 55% of their undergrads are women, and more than 55% of their graduate students are women. And so they're really bringing women along much more than you would have thought, or than I would have thought, and also have a lot of business owners that are women as well. So I thought that was really interesting. Even met a vice president of the region in Marrakesh, who was a young woman, and was elected to be the vice president of the region. So it's kind of like a lieutenant governor position, but it's elected. Okay. Yeah, so super cool. They're doing a lot of really great innovative things. I think their economy is really flourishing. I asked a question, like what level of poverty do they see? And I don't know, I feel like there was some communication problems. They all speak French. Most of the dignitaries speak French, because they were, they always say, in between quotes, that's how they say it, protected by the French at one point. And so they have a large French culture. So most of them spoke French, and then of course some Arabic. Now they're teaching kids English, but most of the people we were talking to did not speak English. So it made for some translation barriers. But anyway, they said, 2 to 3% poverty. But driving around, I could see that probably wasn't the right, we might have been asking the wrong person too. There were a lot of interesting things as we drove around. There were buildings that were being constructed, but you could see that people were living in them. So they would have like a whole floor that didn't have any walls, and you could see that people were living in there. It freaked me out. So that was one of the things that was just kind of scary, like, wow. So I think their poverty level is probably higher than that, but I could never get a really good feel for it. But they really are doing a lot to work with their folks to get them into these programs to help bring them up and give them skills that they need to participate in the workforce. And then of course we went to the souk. So the souk is like a marketplace, and it's this maze of little tiny shops of vendors,
It's been in the movies, I know.
Not super clean,
Right, yeah.
Just crazy. I mean, and there's people on scooters and stuff like just zipping through those, and if you're not careful, you're probably going to get run over. It was pretty funny, but then luckily we had some translators with us that helped us bargain and barter for some things. Like I got this for $10. That's why I'm wearing this really colorful outfit today. So we were able to get some really good deals on some really nice stuff. That was our one little trip to go shopping and have a little downtime, was at the souk, and we had dinner at the souk. I have a picture that I sent you of us having dinner there. I mean, and that was probably my favorite meal. And the meals were just amazing, because every place we went, they served tea and cookies for sure. Like we never went hungry. We didn't ever get to our hotel room and go, gee, I wish I had, something to eat. We were just fed the whole time, but the food was amazing. And actually we have a Moroccan restaurant in Aurora that I would give a little plug for called Paprika. Really amazing food. If you've not had Moroccan food, you have to try it. I'm super picky. Wasn't sure how I would do. I loved it.
Oh, good.
It was great. Good. Yeah.
So was that your chance to mingle with the ordinary people who weren't officials and stuff, and how'd that go?
It was good. I mean, we were pretty protected, being hosted by the embassy. They take that very seriously. They don't want to bring Americans over there and have anything happen. So it was kind of funny. We were in the bigger part of the open part of the souk. So the market's kind of over here, and then there's this really big open space where a lot of the people will come. They have people who beg. I mean, they bring their kids, and they do a really good job of tugging at your heartstrings so that you want to kind of give them money or buy their goods. There were snake charmers. That didn't thrill me. So I stayed kind of far away, but I do have a video of a snake charmer, and it was kind of hilarious because the snake looked completely bored with the whole thing, and the guy kept having to smack him to get him to do anything. I was like,
Wake
really?
up.
Wake up, snake, you're not performing. But then we were walking towards one of the small little cafes to have a cup of coffee, and this guy comes over and sticks this monkey on my husband's shoulder. And one of the guys from the embassy was like, no, get away. And I'm like, no, you have to let him have a picture with the monkey on his shoulder. So it was pretty funny. We just had a great time, and we did see a lot of people. And again, there were a lot of tourists. There were people, so there were women who were fully covered, right? That maybe just has a little opening for their eyes. But then we saw women with just head coverings, and then of course, lots of women without. So like I said, it's a very diverse community of people. And I never felt unsafe. I always felt fine. They always, said, make sure to zip your purse up. But I mean, you would have that anywhere, anywhere
Sure.
you go where there's lots of crowds, you really obviously need to protect your belongings. But I never felt unsafe. I thought it was a really beautiful country, and I would love to go back.
Sure. Well, that sounds like a fantastic trip.
It was.
We're going to wrap this up in just a second, but first, if you don't know, the City of Thornton has a new app. We call it My Thornton, and here's more about it.
Wouldn't it be great if you had a way to let Thornton know when a pothole suddenly appears? Or when other issues in the city need attention? Like a streetlight going out, or some broken concrete on a sidewalk. Now there is. It's an app for your mobile phone called My Thornton. Just tap the app and you can report dozens of issues directly to Thornton staff. You can also get updates on the issue as it gets resolved.
So I think I've got everything I need. Do you want to stop for lunch or something?
Yeah, that sounds great. But I'm not really sure what's around here. Do you know?
Well, in Thornton, when we have this question, we tap the app, the My Thornton app.
Thornton information is literally just a tap away with the new My Thornton app. City information, news, restaurants, and more are all at your fingertips. Just visit the App Store for your Android or iPhone and search for Thornton. There you will find the My Thornton app. Download and install the app, and you are ready to find information about city events, shopping, news, and you can communicate with City Hall about issues 24/7. Just tap the app.
Thank you. Welcome back to Thornton Now. Todd Barnes with Mayor Heidi Williams. Thanks for joining us. This is the first edition of our show. We're going to wrap this up with a little Thornton news. And one of the things that is coming up that's always big for the city of Thornton is our 4th of July event. And we're also going to talk about fireworks in the community. But to talk about the 4th of July event first.
So obviously the 4th of July is on the 4th of July. And we always pull a lot of people, not just from Thornton, but surrounding communities, because it is, I believe, the best fireworks display in the state, maybe getting close to in the country. I've had people come in from out of state that are just blown away at how amazing our fireworks are. And so of course we're gonna do that. We have bands beforehand that come and perform. So it's kind of an all-day thing. People start showing up around 2 or 3 o'clock and start having their picnics and their barbecues. And so it's a great place to just feel that community that Thornton so much represents. We are still a small community, even though we're a very large city. And any time for me that I can get all of my citizens in one place, it makes me so happy. So please think about coming to the 4th of July celebration. Come by and say hi to my family and I. We're usually kind of up toward the front by the stage and love to just talk to our residents and even those from surrounding communities.
Yeah, our staff does a great job with the 4th of July event. It's definitely one of the funnest things I've been to in a long time, and one of the biggest draws in the metro area. Dovetailing off of that, we've been starting a new push to try and get people aware that fireworks are not legal in the city of Thornton. Last year we had a lot of complaints from veterans and pet owners and people who are just really not doing well with the amount of fireworks going off in their neighborhood. Tell me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, we experience it at my house, and we're very close to the rec center where they do the fireworks, and so really you can see them from our neighborhood. There's no reason to be lighting off your own, and I get that it's fun. We did that as a kid, but I lived out in the country, and it's a different time now. And when you're lighting off those fireworks in the neighborhoods, there's a bigger chance for fire, obviously. So there's a big danger. We had a couple of roofs set on fire last year, some bushes. It litters up your neighbors' yards. But I think the most important thing that we have to think about is we need to be good neighbors. My dog, and I know lots of people's dogs, just about lose their mind. I mean, she was shaking. She was such a mess for about 2 weeks because we just had it going on for so long. The Friday night before the 4th of July last year, we had some neighbors behind us that were lighting off fireworks 5 hours. till 2 o'clock in the morning. It started at around 10, and I finally called the police at 2 because I didn't know what to do. And I don't want to be a bad neighbor, and I want people to enjoy and have fun. But at the end of the day, I think we have to be good neighbors and really think about that. And then, of course, our veterans. We have veterans in our whole community. Our community was founded by veterans, and veterans continue to live here because they like the community. But there's a lot of PTSD. My dad is a Vietnam veteran, and my mom told me that, when he first came back from Vietnam, they went to a fireworks. It was the 4th of July, and there was somebody shooting off fireworks, and he dove under the picnic table. I mean, that is just terrifying to our veterans, and we just need to be better neighbors. And so, it's not legal to do fireworks in Thornton. We have a $500 and a $1,000 fine if you are caught. We have ramped up our responses to fireworks. We'll never be able to get to everybody that calls, so please be patient with us, but we have ramped it up. We're going to try very hard to catch the people who are lighting them off. So don't be one of them. Be a good neighbor. Come to our 4th of July show. I know there's there's fireworks shows kind of throughout that week, different places in the city. So take advantage of those resources. I mean, your tax dollars are helping pay for those, so take advantage of it and come out and see us and be a part of our community. Yeah,
leave the fireworks to the professionals. That's what we're trying to advise everybody.
Exactly.
We do have some signs that you can post in your yard that say, leave the, fireworks are illegal, leave it to the professionals. And those are at our fire stations. Feel free to drop by and see if there's still some left. And the other thing that's a little confusing for some people is that fireworks are sold in Adams County, but you need to know that you can't bring those in and use them in the city. So that's one of our education efforts that we're trying to undertake this year to let people know that. So it can be a little bit confusing, but no fireworks in the city of Thornton. Mayor, thank you for doing this show. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more shows, and we're going to have some interesting guests along the way.
Absolutely.
Throughout the year. And once again, thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank you so much.